Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new Senate prediction. This is your boy the Chaotic One, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I do have the weekly battleground maps, but there is a little bit of change here on this map, and I can actually finally explain what is going on as well. So let's start filling out these safe Republican states. Alaska, that will be safe. I think Murkowski's going to end up winning from anywhere to 5 to 8 points over Tishbaca due to the Chesbro Democrats voting for Murkowski. Though it would be interesting if the Democrat voters ended up voting for Tishbaca because she's so far right, makes the Democrat or Republicans look bad. It'd be pretty funny. Yeah, but I was watching the Alaska debate and it's so bad. All three of them suck. Like, I wish Buzz Kelly would have stayed in the race. Jesus Christ. Utah, safe Republican. Idaho, safe Republican. No, the Dakotas both will end up winning by landslides, 30 to 40 points, if not more. Both Hubbin and Thune are juggernauts in the state. Kansas, Jerry Moran, juggernaut in his state. James Lankford and Mark Wayne Mullen both end up winning by safe margins. It's Oklahoma, by the way. Iowa, safe. Grassley ends up winning anywhere from 15 to 20 points. Eric Schmidt ends up winning near 20 points. John Boozman will end up winning by a safe margin. Kennedy, he'll make it off the... He'll get at least 50% on the first ballot and avoid the runoff. Katie Britt ends up winning by around 33 points. South Carolina, Tim Scott will end up winning by 20 points or more. Kentucky, Rand Paul will win by safe margin. Indiana, that's safe. I guess a hot take is people freak the fuck out over this. Sorry about that, but a hot take where people were freaking out about when I released the latest, battleground map. Wisconsin is also safe. Johnson is currently leading by 2 points in the averages, in the polling averages, and we all know how bad Wisconsin polling is. They had Joe Biden winning by 8 points back in 2020. So let's say it's 8 points off again. I doubt it, but bear with me. And Johnson wins by 10. And in something for it to be considered safe, you have to win by 10 points or more. And I currently have Johnson winning by 12 right now. And Tom Nelson is right. Mandela Barnes is a terrible media spokesperson. I don't know if it's a spokesman or a spokeswoman, but spokesperson. Mandela Barnes really does, and he needs to fire his campaign advisor and say, you know what, instead of talking shit about the state you're trying to represent as well as the country you're trying to help run, how about not do that? So those are the safe Republican states. That gives them 46 seats. Time for the safe Democrat states. We have Oregon. Ron Wyden will probably run even or do better than Joe Biden's 2020 numbers. California, Alex Padilla will win by a safe margin. Hawaii, that is safe. Brian Schatz is relatively popular. Michael Bennet, I've read several articles saying that this race is going to be super competitive. I doubt it. I think Bennet wins by 11 points at the end of the day. Tammy Duckworth, she'll also run even with Biden or do better. She'll win by 17 points or more. New York, Chuck Schumer is an electoral juggernaut, wins by 15 or more. Runs even with Biden. Vermont, that is safe Republican. A new poll came out that had Welch up by like 30-something over Malloy, saying, I swear to God, I would have like shit myself if Welch was under 10 in a second poll. Like, I would be like, whoa, we could be in a competitive area in Vermont. But no, it didn't happen, so Vermont is safe blue, guys. We're good. And Maryland will be safe blue as well. Chris Chaffee, phenomenal candidate, but he will not get the funding Larry Hogan got in 2010-2014. So he stands no chance. That gives Democrats 44 seats, and we have 10 toss-up seats to talk about. I know we have like some weird ones, like why is Washington competitive? Why is Connecticut competitive? Why is Ohio and Florida still competitive if you have Wisconsin as safe? I know. I'm going to explain. Now, time to do the likely Republican states, and we're going to first do Ohio. Tim Ryan's running a pretty good campaign. He's going to do very well in Ohio's 7th Congressional District with the previous borders of the district. He'll do very well in the urban areas and the suburbs. J.D. Vance, of course, still has a lot of baggage about him because of the socialist card that has been slapped onto his chest by Republicans and Tim Ryan. Again, he has Donald Trump there to be like, yo, this guy's not a socialist. I'm against socialism, and I want to endorse a socialist. And that's all that really needs to happen. Again, this is closer to safe than lean. I have Vance winning by 7 right now. Next, likely Republican state. The only other likely Republican state is Florida. Marco Rubio is currently, I have him up winning by 9 percentage points right now, so close to safe. Florida could go safe literally any day now. but Val Demings is not running a good candidate. Absolutely not. Just not a good candidate or campaign. Sorry, I'm kind of getting off a high right now, so bear with me. So she'll do well in her districts, of course. She'll do well in... That's it. Because she'll get crushed in the South because of the Cuban Americans that will fucking swing right for Rubio. She'll get crushed in the suburbs because, one, Rubio's a juggernaut in the state, and two, it's a red wave year, so the suburbs are going to revert a little bit. And, of course, the Panhandle's going to have increased turnout as well. So Rubio probably wins by 9 at the end of the day. And that is all the likely Republican states. Now we're going to the likely Democrat states. We're going to start off with the Washington state. I have Patty Murray winning by 7 right now. Again, this is like this should have been expected when 2022 started talking about. We know Patty Murray underperforms. Her and Mariah Cantwell just fucking underperform everything. They are not liked for some reason. For some reason, they're two progressives who support progressive policies. They're not liked in a progressive state. It's weird. It's really, really weird. But now we have a Rockefeller Republican. A lot of people were kind of questioning, is she kind of like a Tea Party Republican, moderate populist? No, she's a Rockefeller Republican. She's pro-choice. She supports a lot of left-leaning policies. And, of course, is more of an ass. Would be like Murkowski, or... Yeah, it would be like... She's like a little bit to the left of Murkowski. She'd obviously be the most left-leaning Republican in the Senate right now, and would probably be a pain in the side of Republicans and Donald Trump, more so than any other Republican currently, if you want my honest opinion, if she were to be elected. However, it is still Washington. Smiley might do well in the Seattle suburbs enough to turn into lean, but I don't see Patty Murray losing in Washington. Like, it would have to be a best-case scenario for Republicans to win in Washington, and that's absolute best-case scenario. Okay, next likely Democrat state is going to be Connecticut. This is the only other likely Democrat state in Connecticut. Now, nobody's talking about this. Nobody is talking about the fact that Richard Blumenthal is running even with Ned Lamont right now. He is. Like, he is running even with Ned Lamont. And everyone's saying Ned Lamont's in trouble of it being competitive. What about Richard Blumenthal? Now, I had originally thought, okay, if it's not Tim Escurides, it's going to be safe Republican. Because of how well Tim Escurides was doing in polling. Leora Levi is running even with Tim Escurides by now. And I have Blumenthal winning by 7, similar to Patty Murray up in Washington. And Connecticut is actually a very weird place, a very socially moderate, economically progressive state. And Leora Levi, very socially conservative, however, she's very economically moderate, economically populist. I'd say she's more moderate than she's populist, so she'll like, hey, like, tax cuts, and maybe, you know, maybe fair trade, not protectionism, but fair trade. Like, let's keep it free as long as, like, we're not getting fucked over. You know, she's working on kitchen table issues, and Blumenthal is essentially like, hey, I'm a Democrat, Joe Biden. And Joe Biden's approvals are down in Connecticut. But, of course, it's still Connecticut. Blumenthal's probably going to end up winning by 7 at the end of the day. And so those are all the likely Democrat states. We're now going to take a look at the likely Republican states, and there are 2 likely Republican states, and then there's 4 states afterwards. Yeah. So, first off, we have the state of Nevada. This is, like, out of all the states to flip, I am most confident in Nevada flipping more so than Arizona, Georgia, or New Hampshire. Or really any other state. Laxalt's currently leading in polling. This is, he is. And now, Nevada polling's not that bad, so, and if Laxalt's leading now, he's probably end up going to win. I have Laxalt winning by 2 points right now, meaning he would win Reno County, and, like, obviously there has been, like, debate, like, whose Hispanic appeal is better, is it Laxalt's or is it Mosto? Here's the thing, though, if you take a look at polling, Laxalt is leading with independents, and if you're leading with independents, you are in a good spot to win. The problem is that Laxalt has to deal with the Nevada Republican Party, who is not funding his campaign. The state party is against Laxalt and Lombardo, so that was their problem this whole time. They were trying to solidify the base without the fucking base headquarters helping them. So, you know, it's fucked up that the state party nominated these far-right nut jobs, and, you know, Trump just needs to needs to get rid of these Nevada Republican officials and help replace them and get someone better. And next, finally, we have the state of North Carolina. This state, I feel like, is either being bombarded with left-wing pollsters and not getting enough, like, treatment from, like, good pollsters or right-leaning pollsters to even out the left-wing pollsters, because Bud is leading by 1 to 3 points in every single poll. When we get a good poll, he's leading by a likely margin. However, there's so much left-wing polling that it kind of looks like, hey, it's going to be a lean race, and I'm starting to think that. Cherry Beasley, of course, Red Eagle will tell you she's a sacrificial. Red Eagle will tell you she's a sacrificial lamb, which she probably is. But here's the thing. Cherry Beasley is she was the Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court, meaning she was elected several different times before she was narrowly beaten back in 2020. So she's kind of popular, kind of not popular. She's kind of in this weird Laura Kelly space right now where it's kind of like we have an even opinion of her. But compared to Ted Budd, Beasley is actually like working with suburbs and actually giving attention to the rural areas. I've seen her come to my county, one of the most rural counties of Alexander County, one of the ruralest counties in North Carolina, multiple times. So she is trying to get out the vote everywhere, especially in the rural areas. And Ted Budd is just working in suburbs, not really talking about the rural areas as much. So that might be a problem. We might just see a bigger polling error than expected. But right now I have Budd winning by 3 points, similar to how Trump won in 2016. So the rest of these states will be lean Democrat. So, and yes, Arizona is the one that, changes from, it was likely D, now it's lean D. I have Kelly winning by 4 points right now, currently. And, again, Blake Masters has the opposite problem as Adam Laxalt. He doesn't have the base together with establishment Republicans, and that's a problem because he's not getting the funding from these establishment Republicans. And, we have the Forward Party just pouring a shit ton of money into Mark Kelly's campaign, which, it's mostly coming from the former establishment Republicans, now turned Forward Party members. And if Mark Kelly were to win I'm predicting an R+3 national environment, he might be able to win by a likely to safe margin come 2028. Depending on how trends in Arizona work. We might see a terraforming of the state from, Kari Lake to whatever governor is in by 2028, which may be Kari Lake, it might be a Democrat, it might be another Republican, because Kari Lake could be primaried out, we don't know. Next up is Georgia. Herschel Walker's campaign is collapsing. Essentially, this whole Christian, thing he's been doing has been kind of revealed as fraudulent. I've always had problems with Herschel Walker, and then he started doing a unity campaign, and I was like, yeah, I like that. Not many people are doing that, and not doing it to the extent Herschel Walker was, so I kind of just looked the other way, but now I really can't look the other way. And looking at polling, Georgia polling is not bad. It really isn't that bad compared to other states. Georgia was spot on in 2020. Like, they fucking got it. And right now, Warnock is leading by 3. Can Walker come back? Probably. Is it going to a runoff? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything yet, but I think Warnock wins by 3 right now, barely avoiding a runoff. Just barely, though. Either that, or he barely gets into a runoff, like David Perdue back in 2020. And that gives Republicans a lot more time to funnel money into Georgia, try to make Herschel Walker look a lot more appealing to voters. And it's also a turnout. A runoff is like a turnout game, So we have that to look at. Next up, Pennsylvania, a state that is getting redder and redder and redder in polling. Fetterman is... I don't know what Fetterman's fucking doing, but it's not working. Even though I still have him leading, I'm saying that if the election were to happen today, Fetterman would win. But we're talking like future November. This thing could end up being likely red come my final prediction. I'm not joking. We could, this whole Republicans could have 54 seats. The old meme 54 next to 60 for 2020, 2022, 2024. That whole meme that Red Eagle started? But right now I have Fetterman winning by 3. Little less than Mark Kelly. And, of course, Oz right now is, demolishing Fetterman with independent voters. He's got the suburbs with him. He's got the rural area. He's winning the rural area vote, but, there's a lot of undecideds there, or a lot of Republicans are going to Fetterman, because Oz isn't solidifying the fucking base. Similar to Laxalt. Like, he's getting all these endorsements from left-wing unions, he's getting all these endorsements from moderate Republicans who endorsed Joe Biden back in 2020. You know, Oz's campaign is on the rise. Fetterman is just stuck. It's static. Like, you don't hear, like, oh, good things about Fetterman, bad things about Fetterman. It's just like, it's weird. And finally, New Hampshire. This thing used to be toss-up, and now it's lean D, most likely going into likely D territory, unless Don Bolduc pivots good enough, which he's not doing so right now. I have Maggie Hassan winning by 3 points over Don Bolduc. Don Bolduc clearly wasn't the best choice to go on to face Maggie Hassan. It obviously should have been Chuck Morse. Chris Sununu knew that, but now Sununu is backing Bolduc. But, of course, Sununu's endorsement doesn't mean Jack Diddley right now. It didn't mean Jack Diddley back in the primary. Well, unless you want to take polling into account, then it did, as it, like, gave Morse, like, a 10 to 12 point boost, like, in a matter of days, which, hey, it's pretty impressive, And, you know, Sununu endorsed Trump, I think, back in 2020. We didn't see Trump carry over New Hampshire. A lot of vote splitting going on, and Sununu's popularity is currently dropping, so how he won by 20 back in 2020, you know, we should expect him winning by 30 or more, but no, right? Right now he's polling sub 20, so he might win by around the same margin he did back in 2020. But Maggie Hassan, she, of course, running a moderate campaign, trying to tie herself as little to the Biden administration as possible, trying to be like, hey, I did this that the Biden administration didn't want to do, but I told them that they needed to do, trying to do whatever she can to make Bolduc look like, you know, the far-right nut job that he is, and she's actually attacking him on his past comments about war, his very hawkish stance. That will turn off New Hampshire voters like that. You need to be one of two things in New Hampshire to be elected. You need to be a moderate or a libertarian. Don Bolduc, not either. So, right now I have a toss-up in the Senate, 50 Republican seats to 50 Democrat seats. The two states flip. Nevada flips red, Pennsylvania flips blue. What do you guys think in the comments? Do you think I am a lunatic who has one of the weirdest margins in the world, or do you think, hey, it's pretty good? So, thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.